Hey guys, thanks for tuning back in. If you're new here, my name is Daniel Cervantes, and I am the Christian Adventure Gamer. I also go by Daniel the Paladin. And so today we're going to be taking a look at a game that I have found a lot of nostalgia with, and I was so excited to get my hands on this game. The one thing that I'll talk about later, but the one thing that I wish I had more of was people to play this game. There's other reasons why I don't play it, but it is by Jasco Games. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and so the one game that they had on Kickstarter a few years ago, I just had that nostalgic feel for, was Mega Man the board game. And this isn't really a cooperative game, but this adds some really cool mechanisms and really cool miniatures. I love the miniatures. They give me that feel of playing the video game. And so let's take it to the table and see what it has to offer. So I have the game all set up, and as you can see, there is stages like you would expect in any Mega Man game. Then you have Dr. Wily's Tower. Then you have the Yellow Devil, which is an expansion that came with the Kickstarter. I don't know if it comes with the base set. I assume, when I say the base set, I mean like the retail core set. They called it an expansion. So I have him there, and then Dr. Wily. If you look at these miniatures, awesome quality. They're almost like a soft rubber, and they're pre-painted. You couldn't ask for better miniatures for a Mega Man game. Look at Flame Man, just awesome. Iceman, so cool. And these are considered trophies, and so when a player goes through a stage and beats the boss, the first person to beat the boss gets the trophy, and they go on the W here. Okay, and I want to show you in the rule book. It tells you how to put the board together, a diagram, but there's no other pages to explain how setup should look. There is a definition here for certain keywords, and talks about different card faces, boss face cards, and then it gives me an example of what the Mega Man cards are. So the Mega Man cards here have a boss battle side, so it points to Mega Man for the boss battle, and the challenge side. So the challenge side is the stages that you go through, the different challenges. Okay, and so you have 10 threat. That's the number of dice you can roll during a turn. Energy is how many energy pellets you get, which in the book there is no picture to show that these are the energy pellets. I had to figure out for myself. And then health. And so on here, we start on 28. Okay, but there's no arrow to point to the number specifically, and there's no side to allocate which ones are the bosses, which one's the Mega Man. I just assume that it's easier to see that the bosses are on this side, so that would be for the bosses, this would be for the Mega Man. And all the bosses I think start at 28, with the exception of, well, I guess there's no exception. They all seem to have 28 on them. I thought maybe Dr. Wily would have a different number, but he still had 28, because they can go up to 30, up to 40. So 28. And then you have cards here. So these are the decks. And so you have a Dr. Wily side for all the players that are playing when it's your turn, and then the Mega Man side for the player, the active player. And so to start the game, also on the card, before I forget, it does say how many lives you start with. And so these would be the life tokens, how many Mega Man heads you have. Okay, so I have 3. That's how many times I can die. I'll restart. And so, to start, each player, let's say I'm set up for a 2-player game. This is a 2 to 6 player game, and I think with the Oil Man and the Time Man expansion, you may be able to play up to 8, but it just kind of really drags it out. And I assume you don't really have to play with all the bosses. You can play with just a couple to make the game faster. And so each player would roll until someone rolled the Dr. Wily. So eventually, let's say this player over here rolls the Dr. Wily symbol on the die. So you have a shooting Mega Man, the Mega Blaster or Buster symbol, the jumping Mega Man, and a running Mega Man, and then a +2 health, which brings your health up 2 points for every one of those you get. And so starting with the player that rolled the Dr. Wily, they would choose which stage they want to start at. So let's say they start here, and then this person cannot start here, but they can start here or any other stage. And so for the first turn, or for the first stage when you first start, you cannot choose the stage of another player. However, if you die or beat another stage, you can go to that player stage and even share a stage, or I guess, yeah, you would say a stage, a section of the stage. So each little circle here. And so you would start by going here. You'd flip over a challenge card. Okay, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see what's going on a little bit better over here. So, okay, to explain what's going on here, this card says that you can use up to 5 activation points. This is to be the minion that you'll get. So I take one of these minions from over here, and so it's a peg. And then I have, if I roll a Dr. Wily symbol, I lose 1 threat, so the threat, or the dice I get to roll. And then for the challenge, to beat the challenge, I have to get a shooting Mega Man. Okay, and then it says gain 1 weapon energy, so I would do that now. So I have a total of 4 weapon energy now. And then, at least I'm assuming the book doesn't say that you cannot go over your weapon energy value. And so then if I roll a jumping Mega Man, it says stick. That means I cannot change it, that symbol if I re-roll. And so these little pellets here, the energy pellets, allow you to re-roll any or all of your dice. And so let's just say I put those here. Okay, and then I have up to 5 points I can spend. So I could choose my cards up to 5 points. Let's say I'm going to change one of these Mega Blasters into one of my shooting Mega Man. Okay, and then the next player would choose up to 5, and for a 3, 4, 5, 6 player game, everyone would share, all the opponents would share the action points. So let's say one person played a 4 point, the next person can only play a 1 point, and so forth until all the points are gone. But for a 2-player game, it doesn't necessarily matter. So it says here that if I play this card, your opponent must roll at least 1 blast in addition to the challenge required to pass this challenge. And so I'm going to play that there for them. And so I have up to 10 dice to roll. So I'm going to choose to roll 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to do 5. 5 dice. And if I don't, like, I have to roll a blast symbol here to be able to take out the bird, or else he's going to do damage to me. So I'm going to roll these dice. And so I got the shooting Mega Man that I wanted. And then I rolled the Dr. Wily, so then I would lose 1 threat, so I'm going to lose that. And then I can spend one of these pellet tokens, or the energy tokens, to roll the 3 other dice. And then I lose all 3 of these. Okay, so what happens now is I pass the challenge with this die, okay, and then I'm going to take 2 damage, so I'd go down to 26, and then this gets discarded. And I've used those 5 dice. And then it says special here, discard your hand and draw no new cards until this challenge is resolved. Well, I resolved the challenge, so I go ahead and discard all these cards, and then I always have to have 4 cards. Well, I guess I didn't need to put those in the bottom of the deck. So I put those there, and then so I draw 4 new cards. So every time I discard a card, I draw a card. So I should always have 4 cards. And then I pass that challenge, so I go here. And then I can choose to go again since I have 5 dice left. So let's say I do that. So I draw this card. Now on the symbol here it says +1 of these pangs. Okay, in the book it says that if it has a plus with a number on it, that's how many monsters you have to, or minions you have to face. Well, what does it mean when there's just the picture? You know, so I think the wording in the book is wrong. I think it should say that's how many in addition you have to face, and that's how I'm going to play it. I think the wording in this book is just not there. It's almost like they cut some corners, and I'll explain more as we go through. Again, if I roll a Dr. Wily, I lose 2 threat. I have to have a shooting Mega Man to pass. And it says minions deal +1 damage for each minion added to this challenge. So, and then this person would discard their card, and they would have also 4 cards before I forget. And so we have up to 2 action points. And so it says that there should be 2 pangs. So I got the 2 pangs here. I'm just going to set those here. And then I have up to 2 action points. So I'm going to play this one. Each of your Mega Blast rolls count as 2, or Mega Buster. I'm assuming that's what that means. I mean, it could just be a shot, but in the video game it's called a Mega Buster. And so rolls count as 2, so I'm going to play that one. Okay, and then let's say he plays this, add 1 minion to the challenge. So then I'll put another minion on the challenge. And remember the card said that it's a +1 for each additional, so each minion would be doing 4 damage. So I need to get these. So then I'm going to roll these dice here. And so I got the shooting Mega Man I needed. And then I got a Dr. Wily, so I have to get rid of 2 of my threat. Then I can re-roll these. And I need to get some Mega Busters. Nope. So I'm going to spend another energy pellet. And I got 2 running Mega Man, so I'm going to spend my last energy pellet. Okay. And so this is my last roll. So I only have 1 of these. And then I'm able to take out 2 of these guys. And then it says minions deal +1 damage, so I'd be taking 4 damage. That would get discarded because I defeated the challenge with that die. And so I would go down 4 points, so it puts me at 22. And then I also have to discard my hand and draw 4 more cards. And this person discards their card. I'm going to draw a new card. And then because I beat the challenge, I get to go. And then since I have no more threat dice, I have to stop. And then it goes to the next player. And then they would go to their challenge and do their stuff. And so when this gets to the boss, they face each other like that. Okay. Yeah, you would flip your card over from the challenge to the boss battle side. And you look at the boss's card, and so now it becomes a one-on-one. The person to my left is going to take the boss card and roll the threat dice for them. But how this is played is that Mega Man would go first, so I would roll all 6 of my threat. There's no having to divide up as I did throughout the whole stage. So I would roll all 6, allocate damage and so forth, and then the next player would go, but also when I go to roll, I'd play 1 card, and then they would play a card. On my card, you'd have to play this here, the Dr. Wily symbol, for the boss battle, while they still play whatever card they had. And since there's no action points allocated, I'm assuming, because the book is not very clear, that you can play any of these ability cards. And so the person would roll 3 of the threat dice, and if they rolled a shot, it would do 8 damage to me. If they touched me, if they rolled a jump, they would touch me, and they would do 2 damage to me. If they rolled a Dr. Wily symbol, it says freeze over, your opponent loses 1 threat from their next battle roll. And so then what happens is we would keep going back and forth until someone wins. Either Iceman's going to win or Mega Man's going to win. Once Mega Man wins, he gets this card, flips it over, and then he gets a special ability that he gets to keep. And he also gets, if he's the first person to go through the stage, he gets the trophy. So that would go over here with Mega Man. So the one thing about this game is the way it's played. As each Mega Man goes through the stage, and let's say they roll 2 dice at a time and they're able to beat their challenges and make it through the whole stage, lickety-split. Then they get through to the boss and they beat it, and then they continue to go because they can. What's going to happen is everyone else on the table gets to play 1 card until the boss battle happens, and then they just wait. And so that just makes them agitated. They get bored. The game doesn't seem fun. So it's a broken system that way. There is a lot of fiddliness, and some of the rules seem to be convoluted. I think it's all in part of the rule book not having good diagrams. It's just a lot of stuff going on. If there's diagrams and things that explain a little bit better, I think this game would be much better, but it's just all in the rule book. I mean, it's an easy game, simple game, not very many rules to follow. It's just there's no specifics, there's no illustrations. Again, like the energy pellets, it doesn't specify what those are. And so you just kind of have to figure it out. That's how I did. That's how I figured that what those were, because there was no other tokens. Okay, and then with these, the rules aren't completely clear. I just have to, I'm assuming I put them like on a stack. If I look at like a computer file, like a stack. So I would battle, the rules do say that if you don't roll a shot to take one of these out, then this stuff happens. Okay, so, but like the special rules, it doesn't say anything about the special rules, so I'm assuming that happens if it does damage. So I'm not sure if that just happens anyways. I'm just assuming if it does damage, the special takes effect. The challenges are nice, other than they don't specify, in the rules they say if there's a +1, that's how many you have to fight. But this one didn't have a +1, so I'm assuming we still fought 1. And so if they would have just said in addition to, so I fought 2 on that stage. And then there's one that says here, it says no minions, so I wouldn't play any minions. However, if someone played a card that said play 1 additional minion, like we did earlier, then that would be the minion that I'd have to face. So I'd have to face Met. And then they have special abilities. And so if you look here, all the challenges or the minions have special abilities. And the way those take effect is, so like you see the water drop there. When people play their cards, some of these cards have special abilities. So like there's a fist, there's a lightning, fire, fire. And so when that happens, even here, I mean, like this still takes effect, but it doesn't say there's any additional rules for meeting the requirement. So it says immediately roll 1 die. If you roll a Mega Buster, your opponent takes 3 damage. And so if we go to the rule book, and it talks about the abilities of the minions, it says minion special rules. All minions have a special ability that can be triggered by Dr. Wily. Okay, so taking a step back, now it makes sense. The special here triggers when someone plays a matching symbol. Or at least like on here. So like I'm assuming here, if I was to play a card that had the fire symbol here and it matched that symbol, then the special would happen. So I shouldn't have been discarding. again, the rules aren't very clear because there's no diagrams. It just says what happens. And so like here, it just points out to these and then to this. And so I guess I just wasn't thinking, which was my fault. But if there was a better diagram or explained how it was played, I would have caught on. Because it's just a very basic rules. It's only one paragraph, one short paragraph. And so the game is kind of fiddly, convoluted somewhat, just with everyone having to wait their turn. If they could fix that, so like if there's a boss battle going on here, people on the other side or other players that aren't playing could start using their Mega Mans and go while this is going on, would probably make the system a little bit better. And so let's take it back up top and give my final thoughts. Alright, now that we've taken a look at the game, I'll give you my final thoughts. As far as the components go in this game, I love them. The miniatures are awesome. And then if you have the Kickstarter version like I did, which I'm actually listing on eBay, because it doesn't get much play, and with Gen Con coming, I have to get rid of some things. And so this will be up in eBay. If anyone's interested in it, I'll provide the link down below. But the artwork is awesome. I know that it went through a long process of getting okayed in its development by Capcom. Jasco Games did a wonderful job with the artwork and the miniatures. The one thing that I don't really care for is the way it plays. And so when I say that, like, you have one player just pushing their luck, pushing forward. If they win, they keep going, but then everyone else gets bored. And so the game says, for a time limit on here somewhere, it says 60-90 minutes. It's probably like 60-90 minutes per player. If they could fix that broken system, I say broken because no one wants to sit and play a game or watch someone else play a game for a needless amount of time. If they could find some way for everyone to play in real time, or find a way for everyone to take a turn with a miniature and do something different, like if someone dies they go back a few spaces, but find some way that everyone can play a miniature, their Mega Man on their turn, and then still play a card to try to help their character and then hurt another character. I think that would fix this problem, because everyone would be doing something. On every turn, person chooses what they're going to do, so they go to the next stage with their miniature, everyone, and then plays a card for their miniature and then one against everyone else. So it means you'd have more cards in hand and you'd be burning through more cards. However, everyone would get to play the same amount of time. People that would die or get knocked back would obviously just have to get their way back up. And so I think that would fix the problem, but that's just my opinion. And so the quality of the products, the artwork, I would have to rate this game at like probably a 3%, or 3 stars, 3 out of 5 stars. This can teach kids some of that time management. What are you going to do next? Are you going to keep pushing your luck? Social skills, telling people what you're planning to do, and then dealing with loss when you lose. But yeah, that's my final thoughts. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time.